Welcome back to Gamer Reviews. Today I will review Mortal Kombat 11. Before we begin, if you would like to see more content like this, please subscribe, leave a like, and tell me what I can do to improve my videos. Anyways, let's get into the video. I will start off with the controls for this game. I have mixed feelings about the controls with this game. The controls are great, but only for some characters. Like a lot of the characters that you would think would have a lot of cool moves and cool combos are the ones where you can't either complete the combos because there are just so many buttons you have to press, or there just aren't any combos for that character. For example, if you're playing as Kitana, you don't have as many combos as you think she would have. On the other side of it, you have characters like Shao Kahn, where you think that they wouldn't have a lot of combos, but they have more combos. The controls just don't make sense with each other. It doesn't match the character style. You would think the bigger and heavier characters would have slower movements and less combos. The smaller characters would have more combos and would be lighter, but it just does not make sense. Otherwise, the controls are pretty okay. I do admit that some of the combos I could not do because they seemed impossible. You'd have to hit like 6 different buttons in the span of 1 second just to get the combo to work, and it just does not work. For somebody like me who has smaller hands, it takes a lot of work to dish out those combos. Now on to the graphics. The graphics are on a whole different level in this game. Mortal Kombat X looked great, but this just made everything look so realistic. Like if you're in caves or something during a cutscene, the graphics just stand out so much, it looks like you're watching a movie. It is disappointing that the gameplay graphics aren't as great as the cutscene graphics, but their gameplay graphics are still amazing. Face models look great, and it's cool seeing the older Mortal Kombat characters with updated graphics. I will add though, if you do a finishing combo right before the end of the match in story mode, sometimes the game will freeze for about 2 seconds. I think the reason for this is because it is trying to load in the cutscene while you're still playing the game. So if you're experiencing that, don't worry, your game is not crashing. I did get worried myself sometimes, but it never crashed. On to sound. With every Mortal Kombat game, the sound is just perfect. The sound of the punches are solid, and the action is great, and the sound just adds to that action. The voice acting is great, and the villains sound extra intimidating and just amazing. The sound of the background noises in some of the fight scenes adds to the atmosphere of the levels. The only complaint I have about the sound is that sometimes when you win a fight in story mode, the character's voice will cut out or sound very quiet right before the cutscene starts up again. It's not a huge complaint, but it is something that was noticeable. Now on to content. There is a lot to go through with content in this game, so here we go. So first things first, we have single player and multiplayer. Single player is pretty self-explanatory. It's just you get to play the story mode, and I guess it kind of helps you get through the controls. Again, multiplayer also is very self-explanatory. You just play online with other people, but I will get more into that later on. We also have this thing called the Towers of Time. The basic description of it is that you have to conquer an ever-changing rotation of challenging towers. What this means is that you go into a tower and you are given a set amount of challenges and you have to complete those challenges without dying. As you complete those challenges, you can get special rewards like clothing, concept art, and special upgrades for your characters. There are also classic towers. The description for this is that you can unlock character endings by defeating classic Mortal Kombat towers. So if you pick somebody like Scorpion, you can go through multiple different types of towers and unlock his ending that would directly connect with the story mode. Another thing that I would like to add is that the classic towers have 5 different types of towers. These towers can get significantly harder, and they have to add more characters to the towers as the difficulty changes. The crypt also returns. In the crypt, you go into basically this little map, and you play as a character in third person, and open chests with the coins that you have collected throughout matches in the story mode and multiplayer. You can unlock special unlockables by going and opening a bunch of chests in this map. I like that you can do this and you can unlock costumes and collectibles, but some of the unlockables are pointless to me. I understand that some people like to see concept art for video games, but I don't like the fact that you waste like 2,000 coins just to get a picture of a character. I go to the crypt to unlock costumes and stuff, not to look at drawings of characters. Speaking of customizing characters, you can actually customize your characters. I'm a big fan of customizing characters, especially for changes to the look of your character. Now with the character customization, you can add things like special masks, different types of weapons, hats, glasses, and stuff like that you can add change. With these changes, you can actually get upgrades to your character as well. I did not personally choose these looks because of the different types of actions I can do. I only changed them because it changed the look of the character, and it made the character just look cool. I like the idea of customizing characters to the point where I can change how I fight and stuff, but to me that stuff is really complicated and it ruins the game for me. For someone who plays this game casually, I wouldn't only upgrade the characters just to make them better. I'd upgrade the characters just to make them look better. Now onto the story. The story of Mortal Kombat X is about the villain named Kronika. After the events of Mortal Kombat X, Shinnok's mother Kronika is seeking revenge against the people that killed her son. She is also the Keeper of Time, which means that she has the power to reverse and control time itself. The story was very confusing at certain points, and a lot of their actions made no sense to me. I won't really get into details just because I don't want to spoil a lot of the game. I will mention something though that isn't really a spoiler, but it just irritated me. The fact that in this game, it takes so long for people to commit to their actions. Like if one character is trying to kill the other, they wait so long to kill the other person that it gives the enemy time to come in and stop the fight, which just lowers the stakes of the game for me, and it just gets annoying and it's basically an ex machina. The story within itself is interesting, but it's just not pulled off properly. Some of the characters that were in Mortal Kombat X are not in Mortal Kombat 11. This is just never explained, which I feel like it should have been explained. There is a second storyline as well, but it's a DLC. The DLC is called Mortal Kombat 11 Aftermath, and it's about what happens after the main storyline. The DLC felt like a totally different game, which is a good thing. It made way more sense and explained everything that went on in the normal story in just half the time. It's funny to think that a DLC was better than the actual game itself story-wise. I will now talk about the multiplayer. The multiplayer is very well done in Mortal Kombat, as it usually is. You can choose between match gameplay or casual gameplay. In match gameplay, you get to play against people who are evenly matched against you. A lot of people don't like this, I don't think, but I am a big fan of it. I like it because it will give me a fair chance at fighting somebody that I otherwise wouldn't be able to fight. In casual gameplay, you can play against anybody. It doesn't matter if you're level 1 or level 100, you can face anyone. I kind of like it and I kind of don't. I like it because it gives you the chance to get better at the game, and for your reactions to get faster. On the other hand, it can get very frustrating very quickly. It can get to the point sometimes where you can't even get one punch in without losing. Let me make this clear. That is not a complaint. It is just what I have found in my personal experience. If you're good at the game, good for you. If you're bad at the game, that's alright as well. This is why I like the idea of match gameplay, because if you're not good at the game, you can play against other people who aren't as good either, and that gives you a good chance to get better. So this is the part of the review where I tell you what I did like and did not like about this game. I will start off with the positives. I really like the character designs in this game, and the option of how many characters there are. There are many characters to choose from. You'll have more than one favorite character to play as, and I really like that because that adds variety to the game. The character designs are perfect as well. The characters are very realistic looking, and they look like actual humans. I'm not saying that in the past games they don't look like humans, but in this one, it is just better. The fatalities are also really well done in this game, as they always are. I'm a big fan of when games push the limits on story, graphics, and gameplay. Mortal Kombat 11 is not afraid to push the boundaries of how gruesome the fatalities can be. I'm a big fan of how they push the limits of violence in this game. I also have some negatives about this game. The only major negative that I have about this game is the story. The story is just so confusing and they don't explain things properly. They don't tell you what happens to the characters in Mortal Kombat X because almost every single character in Mortal Kombat X that was new is not in this game. They don't even attempt to tell us what happens to those people. The only thing close to them saying that what happened to them was that we lost them in the Time War. That was it. I'm a big fan of single player, but Mortal Kombat is not built for single player. Like, I'm not saying take out the AI battles and stuff. That's really good, but just take out the story. The stories make no sense and it is just not good. At the beginning of this game, I did kind of get bored. I only got bored at the beginning because of the story. It's just more action than anything else, no real story. I would definitely play this game again, not for the story but for the gameplay. I'm gonna have to be honest and say that I would only play this game casually. I'm not a hardcore fan, so I wouldn't really sit down and plan my day just to play this game online and get stuck on character customization. So now I will tell you whether or not you should get this game. I would say yes and no. Now the reason why I say yes is because all around the sound is great, the fighting is great, yes sometimes the players aren't evenly matched and the combos can be hard to initiate, but the gameplay is great. The reason why I would say no is because the story sucks. If you're wanting this game for the story, I suggest you don't get this game, because you might be disappointed. Anyways, this is the end of my review. Thank you all so much for watching, and see you next time.